Experts in town planning and climate change have blamed the failure to inculcate sustainable practices to combat climate change and its negative impact as a major cause of the lingering food crisis in Nigeria. This assertion came to the front burner in Lagos at the second Femi Olomola Lecture with the theme Climate Change and Food Security in Nigeria, Challenges and Solutions by the Lagos State Chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners and the Association of Town Planning Consultants of Nigeria. The Executive Director of the Nigerian Stored Product Research Institute, NSPRI, Professor Lateef Sanni, made it clear that Nigeria's ever-growing population portends great danger for the country, while shortage of food was increasing. He made a case for the effect of climate change and plantation to harvesting and transportation of food crops as high temperature played a significant role in limiting food security. The state chairman of NITP Chair, Awomosu, and his counterpart at ATOPCON, David Olawale, said Nigeria cannot afford not to inculcate sustainable practices to confront climate change and food insecurity.
Change. Either you are talking of political leader or you are talking of theory, it is in front of us, staring at us. It has implication on agricultural produce. When you are expecting to harvest your wet tomato to take to all these food basket joints that Awomosu just created in Lagos, I must commend you. Before you transport okra from the farm in Igbesa down to Lagos, I'm telling you 30% of it is gone. Why? Because of high temperature.
Agriculture is done on land. So if we want to produce food, it will be done on land. But we also understand that the land that we have as a nation is limited. Our population is increasing and our land is not increasing. So what do you do when a resource is not sufficient? You plan it. So for Nigeria to be able to excel in food production, planners have to redesign, replan this nation so that there will be sufficient land for food, while there's sufficient land for grazing, and there's sufficient land for housing, and there's sufficient land for industry, and sufficient land for every other thing that we need. Without it, we cannot make a headway.
Like you said, it's not even a Nigerian thing, it's a global challenge, it's a global problem. And it's because we've neglected the role of planning or planners in our society. Most of the areas that are allocated and planned for agriculture, even urban agriculture, has been converted to residential. So what do we do? How do we go back to where we ought to be? That is, we have to embrace planning, look at the effect of the climate, and then look at the challenges posed by food insecurity that's leading to protests, that's leading to anarchy, that's leading to political instabilization across the globe.
The problem of food security, as we have heard from this lecture, is a very real one. And combined with the problem of climate change, we are in a crisis situation. Well, so far so good. The major we will have solved the problem is with planning. We should have adopted planning in Nigeria, but we haven't. We have a planning law that is not implemented. There should have been a national physical development plan that outlines where we could grow crops, where we could build as settlements. Those kind of things, we didn't do them. We didn't implement the national urban physical planning, urban regional law, planning law. And if we do that, we could redeem ourselves by doing it.
When you are talking of climate change and food security in the country, the theme for this year annual lecture is actually looking at what are the challenges and solutions. One thing that is key and which I want everybody to take away from this lecture is that you cannot associate climate change and food security from, you cannot dissociate it from urban and regional planning profession. It is only when we plan adequately that we can find solution to this